Hi guys, welcome to the CATWay. So in this video, we are going to solve our daily set. And before we begin, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Also, you can go to www.catway.in for more info on the CAT course. Now let us start. So what do we have today is that in a school, there are 900 students in class 12. They belong to one of the four streams, science, medical, art and commerce. No two streams have the same number of students. Okay. The table given below has partial information about the set of books bought by the students of class 12. A set of book contains all the subject book corresponding to the stream of student. Two different books are available for each subject and student can choose any of the two. Now table 1 shows the percentage of students buying different books. Example, P% of students in science stream buy book A1 for math. Table 2 shows the total number of sets of book bought by the students of each stream, right? So guys, let's say there's a student in a science stream. Let's say there is one student in a science stream. Now he has to buy books of all the subjects, right? He needs to buy books of all the subjects. Okay. So what do we have is, okay. First let us understand what is a set of book. So a set of book contains all the subject corresponding to the stream of the student. Okay. So for one student, the set of books would be like, let's say he goes into maths. Okay, he's a science guy and he has to buy maths ka book. So in maths, he has one or two options out of A1 and B1. Okay, let's say he chooses A1. Then he goes to physics. He has two options, C2 and D2. Let's say he buys D2. Then he goes to chemistry. He has E3 and F3. He buys, let's say, E3. And then he goes to English and he buys H4. So this is one complete set for a student, right? So table number 2, which tells us the total number of sets that have been bought, that basically tells us that these many students bought the book. And every student, if one student goes to buy the books, he is going to buy the books of all four subjects. Out of the two different options between each subject, he is going to buy one book for each subject and he is going to purchase it for all the four subjects. And by purchasing it for all the four subjects, it will be one set. That means the number given in table number 2, that is 324 sets have been bought, basically means 324 students from science stream had bought the books. 216 students from the medical stream have bought the books. 126 from arts and 54 from commerce have bought the books. So this is what your table is. Okay. Chalo. So now, also guys, always, now what you know is that one guy is going to buy a book. Okay. Now let's say if one guy he buys, let's say A1, okay, D2, then he buys E3 and then he buys G4. Okay. So he has bought one set, right? He has bought one set. Now the other guy, let's say he buys A1, okay, but he buys C2, he buys F3 and he buys H4. Okay. Still 2 books on maths, 2 on physics, 2 on chemistry and 2 on English have been bought, right? And the total books, if 2 people have gone, it's 2 sets which are completed and all the books will be bought equal in quantity, right? All the books will be bought equal in quantity, right? Similarly, like 324 sets have been bought. That means 324 books of maths, 324 of physics, 324 of chemistry and 324 books of English have been bought, right? Because one set contains one book of all types. So 324 sets. So 324 books of math, 324 physics, 324 chemistry and 324 English, right? Now after that, between the bifurcation of A1 and B1, it could be different. Like A1 could be bought out of 324 maybe 300 times. 300 people have preferred A1, whereas only 24 people have preferred B1. But the total number will always be 324. Similarly for physics, let's say only 200 bought C2, whereas 124 bought D2, right? But still the total number of physics books is 320. So these are the few pointers that you have to keep in mind, right? Now some additional information has been given that the number of students in each stream is a multiple of 10. At least one student in each stream does not buy the set of books. Okay, that means never the 100% students are not going to buy the books. That means the only possibilities are either 90% students bought, 80% bought, 70% bought it, 60% bought it, 50% bought it, and so on in the same order, like 40, 30 or 20 or 10% students bought the sets or the books. Okay. Then the percentage of students in each stream who buys the set of book is a multiple of 10. Okay, so between stream also, it is a multiple of 10, like percentage of students. Okay, so that we have already done. And the percentage is distinct for all four streams. So percentage of students who have bought the books from that stream is always different. That is also one thing we have to remember. And the fourth is XX indicates that the subject is not studied in that stream. Fine, that is fine. Okay. Now, guys, if you see that there are 324 students who have bought the books, right? Now, these 324 students could be 50% of total of science, could be 60% of total of science, could be 70% of total of science, could be 80 or could be 90% of total of science, or even they could be 40, 30, and 20 and 10% of the total number of students who got science course, right? If you look closely, you will find that if these 324 students who have bought the sets, if these 324 students are only 60% of the science stream, 60% of the totals of science stream, okay, of science, then what you get is that the total people in science is equal to 540. Total number of people in science is 540. Now the total in school were 900. Out of that, 540 are in science. That means there are only 360 students who are left. There are only 360 students who are left, right? Now, between these 360 students, you need to sell these books. That is never possible because these are more than the summation of medical, arts, and commerce is more than 360, right? So 360 students cannot buy 360 plus books, right? So that means the percentage of students of science who bought books is not 60 and is not less than 60. Because if you go less than 60%, the total will increase, and if the total will increase, it will never satisfy, right? So next possibility you will check at 70%. So if you say that 70% students of science stream have bought sets, and those 70% is 324, it will be a non-multiple of 10. And what we need is that the number of students in each stream is a multiple of 10. They will be non-multiple of 10, right? Then if you go at 80%, again, they will be, the total will come out to be non-multiple of 10. That means the only possibility is that 90% students of the science stream bought the books, right? So 324 is basically 90% of science stream. 324 students is 90% of science stream. So the total of science stream is 360. The total students in science stream is 360. Now you go to medical. Now medical 100 is not possible. Similarly, now 90 is not possible, right? 90 is also not possible. Why? Because the percentage is distinct for all four streams. So 90 is not possible. So what they can have is maximum 80% of their students bought the books, right? Maximum 80% of the students bought the books. So if 216 students have bought and they are 80% of medical, they are 80% of medical, then total students in medical is 270. The total students in medical is 270, right? Total students in medical go to equal to 270. Now, guys, what are you left with is, okay. Now 80 you have checked. Let's check it for 70. If there is 70% of people, okay. So if there are 70% of people, then it will be a non-multiple of 10. So 70 is not possible. If there are 60% of people, there will be 360 students, right? There will be 360 students in meds, but that is not possible because no two streams have same number of students. Science already has taken 360, and that is the only possibility for it. So 360 is not possible. If you go to 50, then there will be 540 students in meds, 360 in science, total 900 is achieved. That means there have to be 0 students in arts and commerce, but they are buying the books, so that is also not possible. So for meds, the only possibility is that 80% students of meds bought the books, that is 216 sets, and that means total number of students in medical is 270. Now on the similar lines, you can find the other. Okay, I'm directly going to write down the number of students and the percentage. Science, medical, art, and commerce. So this is what I have. Now first I will write the number of students. Second, I write the percentage of them who bought the books. So for science, what do we have is 360 students. Okay, 360 students, percentage is 90. For medical, it is 270 students, percentage is 80. For art, 180 students, percentage is 70. And for commerce, there are 90 students. Out of that, 60% have bought the books, right? So this is the, right? So now we are done with our set, right? Now maths books will be bought by 90% of the students, physics will be bought by 90%, chemistry by 90%, English by 90%, and so on. Okay, and so on. Okay. Now let us move towards the questions. So what is the total number of chemistry books bought by the students of class 4? So chemistry books, science stream guys, they out of them 90% of them bought the chemistry books. So that means 324 students from science stream bought the chemistry book. This I told you very earlier that if 324 sets are there, every guy is going to buy one book. So if 324 sets have been bought, that means 324 chemistry books have been bought. Now in medical, 216 books have been bought, and in arts there are 126 books that have been bought. Now the summation of this is 660, and that will be the right answer because commerce guys, they are not going to study chemistry. So 666, option A is the right answer. Question number 2, how many students are there in the arts stream? So arts stream we have calculated 180 students. Option number B will be the right answer. Third question needs a extra information, extra calculation. So let us do that. First, let's read down the question. So which book is bought by maximum number of students in the science stream? So which book? Now we are talking about the book, right? So between A1, A2, I told you, right? That A1 could be bought by maybe 300, B1 is bought by only 24, but the total will be 324. Physics C2 can be bought by 200, D2 can be bought by 124. Similarly, E3 can be bought by 320 and F3 was bought by only 4. So now we have to identify that which particular book was bought the most, right? So what we need is, now you know that maths book was bought by 90%, right? That means P plus Q is equal to 90. Similarly, you know, physics book was bought by 90%, so N plus S is equal to 90. Similarly, you know, chemistry book was bought by 90%, so O plus R is equal to 90. And in the similar way, you can write it for how you can write it easily. That is P plus Q is equal to N plus S is equal to O plus R is equal to M plus T, and these all are equal to 90% because 90% students bought it. Similarly, for medical, P plus R is equal to N plus T is equal to O plus S, which is equal to 80%. For arts, Q plus R is equal to P plus S is equal to 70%, and then at the last you have Q plus S is equal to 60%. Now comes the calculation part. How will we identify? Because for finding which book was bought the most, we need to identify these specific values. Okay, only then you can compare. Like for science, if you have to talk about, only then you can compare. Like if if how much percentage is M, let's say if M is 80% of total and Q is 70% of total, then you can say that G4 was the most bought. Okay, so similarly, that means, and for finding that, you need to find the exact values of these variables, right? So what you know is that P plus Q plus S is equal to 60, whereas P plus Q is equal to 90. Similarly, P plus S is equal to 70. This is what you know. If you add them up, what you will get is 2P plus Q plus S, which will be equal to 240, which is equal to 240. From here, what we get is P plus Q plus S is equal to 120, right? Now, guys, what you know is, let me remove some data. Let me get some free space for calculating. Okay, so now what you know is that P plus Q plus S is 120. Between them, Q plus S is 60. If Q plus S is 60, that means the value of P is 60. That means the value of P is 60, right? If P is 60 and P plus Q is 90, in that case, Q is 30. Q plus S is 60. Okay, Q plus S, just a second, P plus Q plus S is 60. So P will be equal to 60, right? Then P plus Q is 90, P is 60, Q will be 30. That is also fine. Am I doing something wrong over here, guys? Just a second. 90, 60, 150, 150 and 70. 150 plus 70 would be 220, right? One will be 220. Okay, so this is what we have as 110, right? Then what do we have is Q plus S is 60, so the value of P will turn out to be equal to 50. If P is 50, Q will be equal to 40. If Q is 40, then Q plus S is 60, S will be equal to 20, right? Now what you have is P plus R is 80. If P is 50, so R will be equal to 30. Then what you have is O plus R is 90. If R is 30, if R is 30, O will be equal to 60. Then O plus, okay, then what do you have is, let's see from here, what do we have? Okay, we have N plus S. So N plus S is 90, between them S is 20. So N will be equal to 70, N will be equal to 70. Then what you have is N plus T is 80. So N is 70, so T will be 10. Then you have M plus T where T is 10, so M will be equal to 80. So the maximum number is for 80. So that means M is given to G4 in science stream. So G4 is the book that has been sold maximum. Option number B, G4 will be the right answer. So this was a pretty good and a good difficult set, guys. And now hope you have understood the set well. Thanks for watching the video.